So far as the development is concerned, I have only one thing to say to our brother friend, Solicitor General of India. They say self-governance is better than good governance. That's all I can tell him.
The assumption of a duty, my lord, outside the constitution is never permissible.
But then for that you have to win over the hearts of the people. You cannot form a nation by force, by compulsion.
That acts are done when a part of the people of India are silent, who have never been consulted, and whose fate will be decided by the cabinet sitting here without reference to parliament, without reference to legislature, without reference to the people. Because people are central to the Constitution of India.
370 was never intended to be temporary in its heart and soul, only not temporary nature.
We'll wrap up at 4:15. After that, anybody wants to give us anything in writing, not more than one page, to just sort of highlight the bullet point.
I would need about 10 to 15.
And those institutions are limited.
The terrorist attacks takes place, the terrorist is killed, the civilian is casualty, and the security forces are killed. The sympathy is only for terrorists and the civilians. Please, 11, my lords, which is more serious, my lord, in my personal view, my lord, subject to your lordships, my lord, accepting that. This is 19th March 2015. Please read, my lord, 1. Then please read 3. 3 is, my lord, very, very serious. It's not just Zindabad. It is again 15th of September 2019.
Constitutions live for eternity. And there is nothing wrong. Even after 2019, violence has gone on unabated. Every week, we find people are being killed, soldiers are dying. You have almost 1 million troops in Kashmir. You travel from Srinagar to Belgaum or Gulgar, every 100 feet, an armed policeman is standing from paramilitary forces. Hundreds of vehicles fly on those roads. So this argument that there is development, and yes, tourism has developed because Kashmir is not the most beautiful place on earth. It's heaven. Anybody who has been to Switzerland will tell us, and Mr. Sibal will tell us because he has seen it much more than I have, that Kashmir is far more beautiful than Switzerland can be. Switzerland
Answers non-derogability of mandatory provisions. And then we will test this against 272 and 273. There is no doctrine of necessity in our constitution. There is a doctrine of constitutionality, but no independent doctrine of necessity. It is about the most dangerous addition that one can make to any constitutional process, where you say, because of necessity, we could not follow your mandatory provisions. Your lordships have held that even directory provisions must be complied with to the extent possible, but we're not there now. We're on the question of mandatory provisions. Now, as far as 272 and 273 are concerned, my lord, one argument that I want to enlarge on the basis of what Mr. Gopal Subramanian said, my lord, kindly have a look at 152. This, I won't give the dates again because these dates have been given by Mr. Subramanian. In this part, unless the context otherwise requires, the expression state does not include the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Therefore, as far as the entire part is concerned, this constitution recognized the relevant provisions relating to the states, legislature and otherwise, my lord, and incorporated those provisions after, my lord, 238, etc., was done away with, as my lord, the Chief Justice pointed out. Otherwise, there would have been a vacuum. How was that vacuum filled? By reference to the JK Constitution and those relevant parts of the JK Constitution itself.
That, my lords, all this is valid. Let's assume. Whereas, how can they make a union, a state into a union territory? Under what provision of law? Okay, under which, what power? Then my lord put to them that there may be a situation of a national security situation. So therefore, temporarily, you may need to do that. But the national security situation is dealt with by Article 352 of the Constitution. 352 to 359 deals with all this. So how can you use Article 3 to do that? You can't use a power in 3, and of course that's not their case also. It's nobody's case that this was being done because of national security. Pulwama happened, Malaj, in February 2019 during President's rule. And then they had elections in May 2019. And what is the justification of keeping, not constituting the state, Malaj, for 4.5 years?
That's how they've understood. That's how they've acted. Merely because government has changed of a new party, does it mean that it has suddenly become overnight temporary? This is something which I want your lordships to kindly appreciate, that 370 was never intended to be temporary in its heart and soul. Only temporary nature was to give the right to the Constituent Assembly to decide what you want. If they had decided, no, we don't want it to continue, President could have issued the order. Instead, they said, no, we want to be part of India. We want Constitution to apply.
As I said, Malaj, your lordships, Malaj, ultimately is the arbiter of what this constitution should look like and how it's to be interpreted. But I only want to request your lordships to think of one thing, that as I walk out in silence of this court, let the court speak on behalf of the people of India. Because this court, this government, or any government, any administration acts for the people of India. And it should not be that acts are done when a part of the people of India are silent, who have never been consulted, and whose fate will be decided by the cabinet sitting here without reference to parliament, without reference to legislature, without reference to the people. Because people are central to the Constitution of India. We should not forget that. Thank you very much.